Hi, in this video I'll swatch out the 15 new Roman Szmal watercolors that were released in late 2021 to early 2022. There are a few uncommon pigments in this release that may be of interest to those who like to collect rare colors you won't find in most other brands. A couple of which are pigments that have been around for a while, but mainly used for industrial purposes, such as for colorful coating on machinery or outdoor walls of buildings. I appreciate that Roman Szmal has been searching for unique pigments that have yet to be offered to artists, but have a good reputation for being chemically stable and light-fast in other industries. For anyone new to Roman Szmal's Aquarius professional watercolor paints, these are available in full-size pans at a competitive price. They are very high quality, but the honey content, which holds on to moisture, can result in these being very sticky. Honey helps the colors re-wet easier for those in dry climates, but I will warn you that if you live in a humid environment, that these can get pretty gooey or liquidy, especially when brand new. They will dry out more over time, but when I first open them in Florida, I always have to put these pans in the freezer so I can get the labels off cleanly. I'll start by swatching the more uncommon, rare, or exclusive watercolors. P082 and PR290 are muted orange and red colors. They feel a bit similar to natural iron oxides, being slightly opaque with a minor wet to dry shift into a dull earthy color. The combination of ginger red ruby, manganese brown, and raw sienna in this release reminded me of the colors in my calico cat's fur, so I'll demonstrate their use in a cat painting later in this video. If I could only recommend one color this time around though, I am most excited about Quinacridone Scarlet. It does not have an assigned pigment code yet, but I can tell you that it's a special blend of quin and DPP crystallized into a single pigment powder. It is a really strong orange-leaning tomato-like red with incredible transparency, great for layering. As someone who owns just about every other red and orange pigment available, I found this one to fill a unique color space with traits that set it apart from other warm red options. It's very economical, just a tiny touch of this color goes a long way. It has an impressive light to dark value range when used at full strength mass tone or diluted down with a lot of water for pale peachy washes. I plan to do an entire video about it after I confirm its stability with a light fast test. I really doubt it would be fugitive, but I'll check because it has yet to be well studied in watercolor use where many red watercolors fade in the diluted range. Judging by other quin watercolors or the performance of DPP-based paints such as Pyro Red or Orange, it is likely to be quite UV durable. I plan to add Quin Scarlet to my main palette for its unique appearance and suitability as a transparent glazing color, but also for being a helpful warm primary red for color mixing. As far as other brands, I've only seen this pigment used in Old Holland's Blood Red acrylic paint, but it's so good that I wouldn't be surprised if more brands start to offer it in the future. Several of the uncommon colors are available in a few other brands, but Roman Szmal has given us a pretty competitively priced option for them. The dark browns PBR29 and PY164 are really similar to each other, so it's probably not worthwhile to have both on a palette. I noticed that PBR29 I have from Mission Gold is a bit darker in value, as well as being a bit more textural. I had some issues with Mission Gold's tube being glossy or gummy, so I can't recommend seeking it out. I prefer the warmth of PY164, but the opacity limits its usefulness in layering. Both are very strong pigments which feel a bit gouache-like. They can provide a very natural appearance for brown subjects like female songbirds. PV55 Quin Purple is available in two varieties, a red or a blue shade depending on the brand. Some offer both. Roman Szmal's is the red shade. Compared to the more common purple, PV23 Dioxazine Violet, this PV55 is much more vibrant and red-leaning. I think you could mix a similar color to PV55 using magenta PR122 with PV23, but PV55's light fastness slightly outperforms those mixtures and is more durable than the similar-looking PV19. PV55 is a great replacement for fugitive dye-based bright violets or PV3. I can see Quin Purple being really helpful in floral art and Roman Szmal's version is easier to lift and lays down smoother, with less of a gritty feel than the student grade version from Van Gogh. The rest of the release is made up of colors that are either fairly common or similar to options available from other brands. I'm happy to see that PG26 Cobalt Green Deep has been added, since the price of cobalts and cadmiums has been going up, and Roman has given artists a reasonably priced option. It's a lovely dark valued green with a lot of granulation texture, ideal for DIY color separating mixtures, especially for replicating the more costly Schmincke super granulating colors that include PG26 in them. The new PB29 Ultramarine Intense is a very smooth, finer particle version of this pigment, similar to Schmincke's Ultra Finest for those who don't want texture in their blues. Ginger Red Rudy is a little weak and it can be tricky to use enough of it to not disappear in the wet to dry shift. I like how it looks mixed with the new ultramarine blue, but it will take some practice to anticipate how it will look when dry. I found that Quin Yellow PY138 was too strong of a pigment to control well. It's an overpowering and unruly yellow with a tendency to take off in wet washes. The flow reminded me of Core or some Oxgall heavy paints, but this is a pigment trait. It is likely the lightweight pigment particles that make it disperse quickly in water, which also happened in my other PY138 samples from Daniel Smith and De La Rowney. I prefer colors I can more easily control for my personal art style, but I was able to work PY138 into some nice blends on the rainbow rope by using it on dry instead of wet washes. Like most Quins or Pyrrole colors, Quin Scarlet is really strong. I could see it being described as potent or overpowering, but it is far easier to control in wet washes and generally less overpowering than PY138. I found Quin Scarlet capable of smoother gradient blends, as well as layering really nicely to achieve a darker shadow. To make sure I didn't pick up too much color from the pan at once, I was careful to use a light touch with the red and then stir it into water on my mixing palette before going to paper. This delicate approach paid off when painting the ears and nose, but it was hard to keep the red from turning orange when it touched the overpowering PY138 neighboring it on the rainbow rope. I think I prefer a softer yellow for this reason, something like PY175, but if you've always wanted a potent yellow, PY138 might be a good match for you. I hope you found this overview of the new colors helpful, and I'd love to hear which colors were your favorites. Let me know in the comments. If you'd like to see more, you can find all of my detailed swatch card images, results from my independent Lightfast testing, and other art supply reviews on my website. I'm currently building a huge pigment database where thousands of colors can be compared side by side with paint from other brands. Updates about this project, along with line art drawings and high-res color scans, are also available on Patreon. Thanks for watching.